is the foundation that health is created upon. Health is the foundation that success is created upon. You can create success without health, but it's a heck of a lot harder. So why do it, right? So if we want to be successful in our lives, if we have dreams we want to live out, then creating a solid foundation of good nutrition is a must. It's an essential. And that's what the book is about. And the book goes through step by step how you do that. Okay? So before we go into that, which we're going to go, I want to make one point to all of you. Because I am seeing this in more and more people that I'm working with. And something that I don't think many of us realize is that we are in an evolutionary shift. Just like the Ice Age. This planet is experiencing something it has never experienced before. And the species that live on this planet are transitioning as a result. This is the number of extinctions that have happened in the last. Now, ironically, Jonathan, this is the production of chemicals. So, in the last 60 years, these bodies are experiencing something that has never been experienced by the human species ever. It's called chemicals. They're synthetic substances that are primarily made out of oil that we are being exposed to in massive amounts. 95,000 of them in production in mass amounts in the United States. And it is predicted by 2050, it's going to be here. Okay? So what does this mean? This means that what's happening right now is natural selection, right? So those genetic structures that can do well in this environment are the ones that are going to survive and reproduce. And those genetic structures that don't do well are not going to be able to. I know I'm one of the ones that isn't so hot in this environment, right? So that means that I have to do everything I can to decrease my exposure without it cramping my life. I have to do everything I can to support my body in dealing with this, right? So if you're a person that struggles with your health and sometimes you feel like, what's wrong with me? Why me? Just know that you're not alone. The planet is struggling right now with an evolutionary shift. Human beings, chemicals will become part of human beings, I am convinced. Because they're everywhere. They're in our food. Our soil's loaded with plastics, right? All of those are going to get into these bodies, and these bodies are going to do what they do with them. Some bodies will survive better than others, right? So that's the chemical increase. That's diabetes increase. Next one. That's the chemical increase. That's weight gain. Now, Jonathan's a perfect example of this. Because when I met him, he was about 25 pounds heavier. I won't tell you the embarrassing thing I did just to save time, but it had something to do with telling him he was fat. Don't recommend it, ladies, although he was great at it. But when we identified a couple food intolerances he had, and we cleaned up his dietary food sources, he dropped 25 pounds. He was working out of the house then, so he was able to control his diet. As soon as he started eating the exact same food choices, but out at restaurants, he started putting weight back on. These chemicals make you gain weight. They're xenoestrogens. Estrogens make you plump up. Have you ever seen these, little boys and people that look like they have breast tissue? That is breast tissue. And that's coming from all the, plastic water bottles and all the xenoestrogen exposure that's happening. Go ahead. So, choice. We're back to choice, right? We don't really know. We kind of do. But we'll pretend that we don't know what all these chemicals are doing to us. Right? We really do know. But sometimes it's convenient to pretend that we don't. But we do know what this does for us. Good, nutritious food. It doesn't have to be all vegetables, but food that is in its natural state, free of chemicals. So somebody was saying, they want to know about nutrition. My number one nutrition advice to all of you is eat whatever you want that's in its natural state and free of chemicals. That's it. Eat the diet you like. You want to eat meat, but make sure your animal wasn't tortured. Right? You want to eat grain, great, eat grain, but make sure it's in a form that you can digest. Make sure that it's fermented and sprouted and all those good things that use up the gluten and use up the phytic acid that hinder digestion and create inflammation and create bloat. All of this is covered in the book. So in the book, I go through each category of food, and I go through the book, skip the chemically ridden altered product, or crap, goes through each category of what grain looks like in its crap form and then what grain looks like in its whole food form and where you can find it, right? So straight up. So eat what you like to eat, because guess what? That's what you're gonna do anyway.